Oh my God, guys, this is a video that I did not want to make. I am not happy. I am not happy at all. So, if you guys have been watching me, you know about A-leads. They're kind of really big on the scene in terms of lead generation. And I'm not using A-leads anymore. I'm quitting. I'm quitting A-leads and I'm going back to Apollo. And I have an abundance of reasons that I'm going to share with you guys of my experience so that you guys can make a decision on whether or not you want to work with A-leads. Because I've decided that I no longer want to associate with this company. And so I'm not going to. Um, and I have an entire list of my three main items, even though there's many more. But the three ones that I think are most impactful and move the dial for people like ourselves that are doing, outreach, cold email, prospecting, things like that, and the reasons why that A leads is just not right for me and probably not right for a lot of you guys. Number one, and I'll just go down the list. Number one has to be the customer service. The customer service, like this guy Oliver right here, like I don't know what he's doing. The last time they responded to me was a month ago. I've reached out to them numerous times, and it's almost like a catch-22 because I'm only reaching out to them because of the other complaints I have. There's these other complaints of in terms of capabilities that they don't have, that I don't want to say lied to me about, but that their demo team said that it should not be a problem. It'll work perfectly for my use case, and I was very explicit about exactly what I'm doing with A leads and exactly what my use case is, and they said it would work perfect for that. Needless to say, it didn't at all. It's a complete it doesn't work. Like, it works 1% for what I need, probably less. And I'll get into why that is, what's going on there. But first, we'll just start talking about the customer service. Worst customer service I've ever experienced, at least in a very long time, for a company that's supposed to be legitimate. It feels like the customer service of a scamming company. It feels like I'm working with a company that's just doesn't respond, ghosts me. I have to keep following up with them. I never get a response. I never get a resolution. Which all these things are true. I've never gotten a resolution. And last response was a month ago, and I've emailed them countless times, and I've never gotten a response because I've been asking for a refund at this point. And it just doesn't go anywhere. No one responds. No one asks, what's wrong, any of that stuff. Um, and you can see that there's countless times, like here, the amount of times that I've had to follow up with this guy before he responds, and this is a common theme that I've followed up and follow up and follow up and follow up, and there's no response whatsoever. And so, Oliver, dude, you suck. You freaking suck, dude. Um, not to mention, they had a data breach too. They had a data breach here where I could see everyone's conversation. Everyone was having the same experience as me. It was really comical, actually. I think I mentioned it to them. Um, and nonetheless, maybe a lot of people did too. But who knows? If I looked through those, I probably could have found some sensitive information. So, poorly managed company, terrible customer service, just a very inexperienced team, I think, is what a lot of this leads to. They don't know what they're doing. Maybe they have some technical know-how, but they do not know how to run a company for the life of them. Their advertising is decent. I'll give them that. But customer service, biggest complaint. Um, but I only ran into that complaint because of the actual uh, things that don't work well, like the API. The API is really, really bad at a glance. And I asked them explicitly about this API before purchasing the service. I asked them explicitly if they would fit my use case, and they said absolutely, absolutely, Jake. Yeah, of course it does, but it does not at all. So at a glance, it looks pretty good, right? You go here, you see, okay, great limitations, blah blah blah, tons of let's go company search, tons of parameters to filter, all that stuff. Looks like it should be very straightforward, very simple, very good. What's not listed anywhere on here, nowhere on their docs, nowhere on their FAQ, nowhere at all, it's not listed anywhere, is that the max amount of pages you can go through is 5. And you cannot request uh, a specific number of results per page. And so if we do the math here, there's only 25 results you get per page. The max pages you can go is 5 on company search. That's 125 results. And if I'm trying to do cold email, that's not going to cut it, not even close. There's the scalability is just, you can't do it. You need a third-party database that you're feeding into this to use that as your unique identifier for each company you find, and then you enrich them via that. That's the only way it works. But then your cost is going through the roof. When Apollo, you can just go. Page, next page, exact number per page, 50, 100, whatever it is. You can just go. This one, if I want to just iterate through pages of a specific, parameters, let's say manufacturing companies, I'm only getting 125 results max. So that's a huge limitation. There's nowhere it says anywhere on that. The same limitation is for the people search. I think you can get to 15. I think you can get to 15 pages on the people search, but nonetheless, our boy, not our boy, this guy sucks. I'm not going to call him our boy. He doesn't deserve that. Somewhere on here, he says, yeah, it's 15. Bear pot here for company search. We have a page limit of 5, which I guess forbidden. And I even asked him, I was like, I also just curious, like, why even put these limitations? See, it'll hurt your product. Side note, you guys should add a per page option for your API because there's no per page. It's just the maximum number of results every single time, which I have a sneaking suspicion is by design so that you churn through more credits. Because how could you just make that huge of an oversight? Well, I guess if they're doing the other one, the max page is 5, maybe they just have no idea what the audience actually needs. Whatever. Nonetheless, that kind of is the big complaints. And then to go here just to summarize, guys, why you shouldn't use A-leads. 1, terrible customer service, never got a single resolution, got ghosted, requested a refund multiple times, never heard back. Terrible. 2, terrible APIs with huge limitations. The max page is 5 to 15, which means max results around 300 because 25 pages results, so not scalable. 3, just a dishonest company, bad leadership, bad management. So this is why I'm not going to be using A-leads anymore. You guys can make your decisions and do whatever you want. But that's been my experience. Maybe they get better. If they do, well, either way, I'm lost for life. I'm going back to my good old Apollo. Apollo is only getting better too. And so the way they're running their company, I can't see them sticking around for long. And I'm placing my bet with the old dog on the block, Apollo. Maybe their data quality is a little bit worse if A-leads is even truthful about how much better the data quality is. Just maybe. But I think that Apollo is, if they're at all concerned with that, their data quality is just going to get better. They're only getting better. They're, have tons of money. They're introducing things. They're improving. I think A-leads was trying to dethrone Apollo and just doing a really, really piss poor job at it and just making more enemies. I think they launched too soon. They weren't ready for the kind of traction they were going to get. They didn't understand their customer. They didn't understand a lot of things, and now they're putting themselves in a really bad position. So I'm going to try and do, charge back, or we'll get my money somehow. We'll see. But anyways, that's it, guys. I hope you found this helpful. That is my, you can tell how frustrated I am with them. That is my opinion on A-leads. Keep it in mind, that is opinion, right? Some of these things I said were, of course, factual, like the limitations and stuff, but this is just my opinion on why I don't like them and why I'm not going to be using them anymore. Nonetheless, I'll see you in the next one. And also, I do want to apologize at the end here for promoting them in the first place, because now I just disagree with them. So either way, catch you in the next one. Thanks, guys.